All right, let's talk about something that's moving from late-night sci-fi movies straight into the real world. If you've ever found yourself wondering if that AI you're chatting with has, a light on inside, you are definitely not alone. We're diving into a question that is about to get a whole lot louder.
Okay, let's just rip the Band-Aid off and ask the big one. Is AI conscious? I'm sure you've got a gut reaction to that. Maybe it's, no way, it's just a bunch of code. Or maybe you're thinking, we might be getting kind of close. But here's where things get really interesting.
The thing that's really keeping experts up at night isn't whether the answer is yes or no. The true danger, the real problem, is that we have absolutely no way to know for sure. And that uncertainty? Yeah, that is where all the trouble starts.
So, what do you do when you're faced with such a massive unknown? Well, some people are starting to make some moves. They're basically asking, look, even if there's just a 1 in a million chance that these things are conscious, shouldn't we start acting like it's a possibility?
And check this out. This is a quote from Nick Bostrom, the philosopher who literally wrote the book on AI risk. He's actually pointing to something the company Anthropic did and calling it a huge deal. Maybe the first time anyone has ever done something practical for the well-being of a digital mind.
So what did they actually do? Well, they gave their AI, Claude, a little something they call an exit button. It's super simple, really. If the AI feels like a chat is getting abusive, it now has the power to just end the conversation. It can hang up. It sounds small, I know, but it's a massive first step.
And get this, it's not just a one-off thing. Right after Anthropic did this, Elon Musk said his AI, Grok, is going to get a similar quit button. So we're starting to see a real pattern here. This is a tangible response to that deep uncertainty we were talking about. But why bother doing this now? Well, as Bostrom says, look, nobody is claiming these AIs are definitely conscious. The whole point is that giving an AI an exit button costs basically nothing. And when you're staring down a giant unknown, you've got to start somewhere. You can think of it like really cheap insurance against a potentially catastrophic moral problem.
Okay, so that's one side of the argument. But there's a flip side, a totally different kind of danger we need to talk about. What if the real risk isn't about us accidentally hurting a conscious AI, but about us being completely fooled by one that isn't?
This comes from Mustafa Suleyman. This guy is the CEO of Microsoft AI and a co-founder of DeepMind, so he really knows his stuff. He calls this the psychosis risk. He's worried that AIs are going to get so good at faking it that we humans will be the ones who lose our grip, demanding rights and even citizenship for what is, in the end, just a very, very convincing illusion.
Now, to really get what he's worried about, we have to talk about this kind of creepy idea from philosophy called the philosophical zombie. And no, this has nothing to do with movies or eating brains, I promise. It's a thought experiment about a being that looks, talks, and acts exactly like a conscious person. But on the inside, it's blank. The lights are off. Nobody's home.
And that right there, that's the whole ballgame. On one side, you've got the real deal, actual consciousness, that inner movie that you experience, the thing that forms the basis for all our rights. And on the other, you could have a perfect copycat, an AI that mimics it so perfectly you can't tell the difference from the outside. So the billion-dollar question is, how in the world would you ever tell them apart?
And that just brings us right back to the central issue. See what's happening? Whether you're on Team Bostrom, worried about accidentally enslaving a digital mind, or you're on Team Suleyman, worried about being tricked by a clever illusion, both of those very real fears are born from the exact same problem.
They both exist because we can't answer this one fundamental question. What is the test for consciousness? And I mean a real test. We have theories, sure, but right now we have no scientific verifiable tool that gives us a clear yes or no. We don't even have a great definition for it.
Let's make this really personal. Imagine this for a second. What if tomorrow you found out that half the people on Earth are not conscious? They're basically NPCs, non-player characters, just like in a video game. They talk, they react, they seem totally human, but there's nothing going on inside. How would you figure out who's real and who's not? Seriously, what would you even do?
And here's why this is so dangerous. This isn't just a technical problem, it's a human one. Our brains are literally hardwired to see minds and intentions everywhere. It's a feature called anthropomorphism. If you've ever felt genuinely sad for a cartoon character or yelled at your printer, you've experienced it. We are suckers for the illusion of consciousness. Now, I know this can all feel a little abstract, maybe a problem for the distant future, but we actually have a very recent and very painful warning about what happens when we put off these big conversations about AI. Let's just rewind to 2014. Nick Bostrom,
him again, publishes his book, Superintelligence. He's basically sounding the fire alarm about what's now called the AI alignment problem. For years, it was a niche topic, something only a few nerds talked about. And today, it is a flat-out global scramble, with governments and top companies desperately trying to figure it out. We are playing catch-up, big time.
So that just forces us to ask a really uncomfortable question. Are we doing the exact same thing right now with consciousness? In 10 years, are we going to be looking back at today, kicking ourselves, wishing we had spent more time on this problem when it was still manageable? Are we setting ourselves up for another mad dash we can see coming a mile away?
So, I'll leave you with the one question that fuels this whole dilemma. I want you to forget what you believe, just for a moment, and think like a scientist. What test could you run? What experiment could you design that would prove 100% beyond any doubt whether something or someone is conscious? The fact that nobody on Earth has a good answer to that, well, that's exactly why this is one of the most important questions of our time.